March Madness is in the air, and we are live in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all music and all wrestling matters. And you might want to say that we're going to have some brackets to talk about here. No, we're not talking about March Madness and the round of 68, whatever that is called. And no, we're going to be talking about DBW because we've got some overdrive to get into. And a man that hasn't been on here in 9 months, and boy, has that landscape of DBW changed dramatically. We'll get into that. We'll get into some usual faces. We'll get into maybe some people that haven't been on here before that'll be announced as coming on right after Overdrive. We'll talk about some of the champions. We'll talk about the who's who and get this man's perspective on a dramatically changed landscape here in DBW. And I'm so excited about it. I've even got my DBW shirt on. But ladies and gentlemen, since he has not been here nearly 9 months, and boy, has that world changed in DBW? It is my great honor to introduce this man and start this show off here in style on Sportzwire Radio, the number one global radio station where all music and all wrestling matters. So with that, without further ado here on the Sports Report, number one cable sports show. He's the man that is the leader and owner of one of the premier companies around in all of wrestling, DBW. His name is simply put, so Silas Walker! My friend, how are we doing?
I could not be any better, Tom. And it's been a long time. It's great to see you. It's great to talk to you. And it's great to be on the air here.
That's absolutely. I know you could have let the cat stay on. I'll make you chuckle. I had on bassist Julia Lodgy, who just came off tour playing with Iron Maiden guitarist Adrian Smith, and her dog was in the background. I was like, nah, it's okay. I can keep the dog in the background. So you could have kept the cat in the background. I have rescued 2 pets famously before, so I'm not exactly a cat whisperer or a dog rescuer, but I have done that in my spare time in the past. But certainly a lot to talk about here. We've got an announcement. I think I'm going to go right into that because literally right before we're on the air here in DBW, you certainly have got us an overdrive worth of announcements. So we're going to talk about it here. We're going to set the tables for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that you and DBW have most certainly helped build, Sportswire Radio. Let's talk about what we can expect here coming up at the next show, Overdrive.
Well, the announcement was made. I mean, on the DBW Instagram page, we announced our next event, which is going to be premiering next Saturday, not tomorrow. Do not get it confused. It's not the 21st. It's the 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you're not on the East, just calculate it yourselves. I'm sure you know how to do that. We're going to be going into the semifinal round of the tournament that we started at our last event, Hallowed Grounds. We featured the first round. We had 8 competitors. We're down to 4. We have Casey James and we have Colin Graves. And then we have Ace Christian and we have Jacob Cassidy. Those are 4 incredible competitors, and I can't wait to see what the finals is going to be. The winner of those finals, moves on to World War III and challenges the global champion. The reason this tournament was made by myself is because it holds such a special place in my heart. I'm talking about the global championship.
We know what you did with that championship. Yeah, listen, almost 2 years ago,
I made it
transformed dramatically, and it's led you to where you are today, sir.
Yeah, I made it arguably worth more than the world title. And I feel like, as much as I don't like him, I feel like Austin James has done a great job at continuing that. Austin James has done nothing but elevate that championship just like I did. And I can't wait to see which one of these gentlemen get to face, hopefully, Austin James. I don't know. He has a match here at Overdrive against Cyrus, but they're going to face the winner. They're going to face the global champion at World War III.
So interesting, and all of that. And we'll talk about it here over the next hour. And I wanted to talk about Ace Christian for a few minutes because we spoke about him actually on Tuesday's show. Because this coming weekend, I don't know if you know this or not, but he's actually going to Texarkana, Arkansas, and he's got a chance to wrestle for the HCW International Championship. And in between that, he's got Delaware, he's got West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania on his itinerary, and he's been talked about really throughout the entire year. And also, little trivia note, Ace Christian was my first live guest of 2026. I mean, 2 years ago here, it was, we had somebody else in DBW that was our first guest. And here we are, Ace Christian's that first live guest that we had on the platform. And Jacob Cassidy's been a hell of a competitor, and just what an intriguing match. This would be the definition of the term banger. When you hear the term banger, I think that this match will basically be that definition, sir.
Yeah, this could absolutely be one that tears the house down. I mean, we all know what Ace Christian can do. Ace Christian, he wrestles here, he wrestles there, he wrestles everywhere. He's great. I've known him for quite some time, since he was just a lad, and now he's a little bit bigger of a lad.
You were still calling him a lad. With Joey Knight Jr., who was on here Tuesday, was saying, how old is this kid? 19, 20? So, I mean,
he's 19.
He was funny. I'll make you chuckle. Joey Knight Jr. goes, well, I'm 28. I'm old compared to this guy. Then I said, no, well, James Taylor is way older than the both of you. So then he was like, all right, you got me there. So, I mean, yeah, he's still a young whippersnapper, Ace Christian.
Yeah. And then Jacob Cassidy, he's learned a lot. He's learned things from he's told me he's learned things from Mark Briscoe. He's learned things from a few different guys that have definitely been on a high level, whether it be seminars or a few training sessions, and he can do it.
Yeah, it's a really intriguing matchup, and obviously, like you said, Jacob Cassidy has come a long way, and it's a match I'm very, very excited about. And the other match I got to talk about here is Colin Graves and Casey James. And Colin Graves, we talked a little bit about him, a little bit, I would say right at the beginning of the year after Ace. I did have on Colton Lee, and I think we did talk a little bit about Colton Graves, but now we get a chance to talk about Colin Graves right now. And this is going to be another one of those matches that'll be a banger in a different way between Colin Graves and Casey James. It'll be a banger in a different way.
Yeah, anything against Casey James, it's never going to be a pretty. You're in for a little bit of a slugfest. He's going to do pretty much whatever he can to deal that damage. But Colin Graves has impressed me lately. He's kind of had that little bit of an edge. He's had that plan in his noggin going into things, and now seemingly Brandon Castelli is on his side, or maybe he's in Brandon Castelli's pocket. So
after what they battled each other through last year, I mean, it's interesting that you brought that up, because we saw what those guys did to each other last year, but yet this year, I guess it's as the world turns.
I mean, if you saw Hallowed Grounds, if you saw Danger Zone, Colin Graves potentially saved the world championship for Brandon Castelli, and now Colin Graves is at this point in the tournament where it should be Zach Depew, but Brandon Castelli helped him out, and now it's him versus Casey James.
Yeah, I mean, listen, these guys know each other very well, and again, a lot on the line here. I hate to ask you this question because you are the owner, but are you maybe partial to one or any of these opponents here coming up in an outcome? I mean, between these semifinal matchups, is there one or two people you may be favoring in these matches that you'd like to see win?
In matters that don't involve myself, I try to be as unbiased as humanly possible. So with this, I'm just going to sit back, I'm going to watch, and I'm going to enjoy it. But I can't say that Colin Graves hasn't impressed me lately. And I also say that I can't say that Jacob Cassidy and I haven't had a past, and I'd like to see him get the shit kicked out of him, get his ass beat a little bit.
Well, you do have certainly a history with Jacob Cassidy, and Ace Christian's definitely not in a good mood these days, and
No.
obviously he's looking to greener pastures. And we just spoke about Ace Christian and Colin Graves. He's been very impressive these last several months. So, I mean, they're all great outcomes, and let's continue to run down some of these things. And boy, I mean, how about this here? You put quite a match together. I mean, I know the prodigies. Things are going to definitely get screwy here. And Sammy Nothing, I famously had Sammy Nothing last year, and what he's done, and then you got Victor Lobos. I mean, this guy. I mean, he's basically the way he was shouting after the last show, DBW. I mean, just this is going to be a match. I mean, almost flip a coin.
And the thing is, at the last event at Danger Zone, when these people were in action, you saw Behemoth versus Victor Lobos, and you saw Ray Louie versus Sammy Nothing. Yep. And now the tables are turned, and you have the tag champions fighting in their environment.
Extreme champion, yep.
They're fighting in their environment against the World Extreme Champion and the Anarchy Champion. So now the tables are turned, and are these two singles champions going to be able to work together to potentially take the tag belts off of these guys? But this is the most dominant tag team DBW's seen in quite some time, and it's going to take a lot of work to do that.
It's interesting that you bring that up in Sammy Nothing and Victor Lobos. Sammy Nothing has been absolutely impressive as the World Extreme Champion. You look at what Victor Lobos has done as the Anarchy Champion, goes without saying, but I think it's different when you tag rather than doing it one-on-one. These guys don't really have the same history and the same chemistry that the prodigies have here. What's your thoughts on that, and how that may impact the outcome of this match next weekend?
I think that has a lot to do with it. I think if these guys can't come up with a plan, if they can't come up with some way to have some chemistry, I think the prodigies are just going to walk all over them. I mean, this is their specialty. Like I said, you have two singles wrestlers going into a tag match against the tag champions. I don't care if you're the top dog in singles competition. If you're not used to that tag environment, it's going to be a rough time.
And do you think even these guys, how will they exist as a team together? How will they be able to work together?
Hopefully good, but Sammy Nothing is no stranger to, let's say, betrayal. And Victor Lobos is not stupid. He's a smart guy. He's going to have eyes in the back of his head. So hopefully nothing interferes with that.
And I guess what you could say as a caveat is that these guys could be double champions. That's a very difficult thing. And not too many people can say that in the past in DBW, to be a double champion. And Sammy Nothing and Victor Lobos have an opportunity to do that here coming up.
Yeah, that is rarefied air. I can't even tell you the last time we had a double champion in DBW. So if these guys are able to do that, you'll have two double champions in DBW, and then who knows? There might be a match and have a triple champion. I'll make it happen.
Listen, that could be a point. That is a well point taken, but you got to look at the prodigies and like you said, the experience that they have and the amount of stops that they've had as a team. So I think that's another interesting point that we'll talk about. We'll run down some of the other matches here before we get to some people in the chat. And Jackson Sabre, the man, will be always a trivia question because he was my first guest in 2024. And he's out here in the ring against one Jacob Ryan. And Jacob Ryan has been, certainly, I think your real boss man has certainly been aligned with him of late. And, what do you think happened here with the Hub City champion, the incumbent Jacob Ryan, against one Jackson Sabre?
I mean, as impressive as Jackson Sabre has been, as much as he has improved in the last year, 2 years, the most important part of this, if you look at that graphic, you see that man standing behind the Hub City champion.
He's here in the chat, the Texas heavyweight champion himself, the real boss man, Aaron Jones.
You see Aaron Jones standing behind Jacob Ryan, and I think that very well could be the determining factor. Jacob Ryan is an expert. Jacob Ryan doesn't need someone in his corner, but if he has someone in his corner, he's going to be able to utilize that, especially if it's the real boss man.
And these guys,
Jackson Sabre,
that's a good point that you make, because by themselves, these guys are some of the most potent and some of the toughest guys to compete out there in the ring. And now they've got each other's backs. I mean, boy, watch out if you're the DBW locker room right now.
Yeah. That's all I can say.
I mean, Jackson Sabre, certainly, like you said, he's had some success. He's been impressive. He stepped up against a lot of guys, and I'll be impartial to him always. He was my first guest of 2024 here on New Year's Day, but I mean, I don't know. He's walking into a buzzsaw right now, and it's going to be more than refined when Jacob Ryan goes out there in that ring. Another reason why you need to follow DBW. Hit the sub button for me. Support DBW. Go and follow them on Facebook, like their page, share it. We're here with Silas Walker for the first time in 9 months. He returned here, and boy, it is a hugely, dramatically changed landscape here in DBW. And my name here is the Reverend Tom Bryce. And there is Austin James and Cyrus. And I mean, just Cyrus, who, by the way, had a birthday recently. We want to wish him a happy belated birthday. And Austin James has been one of the most impressive competitors in DBW over the past year. And Cyrus has got the experience. And just what do you expect here?
So when you look at this, you see the DBW Global Champion, Austin James. You see the man who was able to take that championship from me. Impressive enough of a feat as that is. But he has gone out there and he has defended it against Colin Graves at Total Domination. He has defended it against competitor after competitor. And now here he stands with a man who has not had an opportunity like this in quite some time. And some people say that this man is past his prime. They'll say that he's too old. They'll say that he doesn't have it. But I kind of want to take Cyrus in this one.
Really?
I really
wow. Okay. Well, Cyrus, listen, he's been here many times, and we're always partial to him, and I do agree with you. I don't think he's over the hill by a long shot, and I think his experience, his IQ, and what he's learned out there in all those years competing is certainly going to help him, and maybe what he lacks in terms of what Austin James does in that ring, he'll make up for it in his savviness, and that may be a reason why you're picking him, I suppose.
That's exactly why, and I've been in the ring with him before, and it was years and years ago, but he's gotten better since then. It was closer to my DBW debut around 2019 that we had a match, but I know what Cyrus is capable of, and I think it's really going to be a test for Austin James to be able to defend that global championship here.
And you could make the case after what happened with him and Brandon, maybe there's a hangover here. Maybe there's a letdown because after everybody wanted 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, we didn't get that 5 more minutes. And maybe Austin James, like I said, has a hangover and a letdown from that. And you see this all the time in sports. You see this all the time in wrestling. And maybe here, this could lead to where Cyrus picks up a win and shows the world why and what you've been saying, that he can pull this out, and he's no underdog, and he's certainly not over the hill by a long shot.
I think Cyrus is able to do it. He has the intelligence, he has the ring skills, the veteran, the ring awareness of it. And so does Austin James. I'm not saying Austin James doesn't. He's been doing this for quite some time.
Austin James, I've talked about him in many different places, and famously, we talked about him in GTS last summer. So there's no question that Austin James, what he does out there in the ring, very few people can say they can go toe-to-toe with him. But I understand your point because you've been in the ring with both these guys, and you've seen Cyrus and his abilities, and as a veteran, those ring awareness and those instincts that he has, and age, that wisdom he has, might be able to, when the time is right. It only takes 3 seconds. That's all it takes.
It only takes 3.
That's it. Listen,
like you said, this is a toss-up. But
absolutely,
and we talked about possibly Ace Christian and Jacob Cassidy being match of the night, but this very well has the potential of being it too.
Listen, they're all going to be great matches.
These all matches could all blow the roof off of the place, and
they are all.
I hope they do, but I want the deposit back.
Well, actually, I would say, since you're the owner, I would hope that they don't technically blow the roof off, because
I need the deposit back. We need to be able to continue recording here.
Yeah, we don't want that. But if you're out there, hit the sub button for DBW. I see some people here. I'll make some announcements. Thank you so much for being here. We're running down next week's card. We're very excited about it, and I hope you should be too. And boy, this is the match. When I saw the announcement and shared it on Instagram about, I don't know, a half an hour ago, this was the one I had circled to talk about. Two men that I know, well, not quite like my fractured left hand, but like my other hand at the moment, because the surprise is that I have a fractured hand at the moment. I'm in a hand cast. That was the surprise I wanted to share with you in case you didn't know. But
Oh man.
nevertheless, yeah, everyone's had been asking about it. They, what happened? I said I fell backwards and bent my hand on ice. But but that's for a different show for a different time.
Teach you to take a bump.
Well, you know what? I actually did take a bump, and if the bump was any worse, I would have broke my neck. So that's
okay. Well, I mean, a wrist is better than a neck.
That's why I keep telling people. I said, don't feel too sorry. We wouldn't have Sportswire if I broke my neck. But I am very excited about this match. These are two men that I have had on many, many times. Brent Sabbath, who certainly is back, here now with the vengeance, and then this guy Aaron Blaze, who certainly would say maybe is the guy who's traveled the most, the greatest traveler of all time in our circuit, and he's looking for bigger and better things. He's talked a lot about this here on Sportswire, that he would like to have a better year in 2026, and this was one of the places he had talked about, and we've got the announcement Aaron Blaze is back here in DBW for the first time in a long time, and he takes on Brent Sabbath. And you want to talk about definition of both guys needing a win in a coin toss.
Yeah.
To me, this is it.
Yeah, so you have two guys who haven't really competed here in DBW. I'm not going to say in a long time, but it's been a little bit. Aaron Blaze, he had that knee injury that he had to come back from, and this is his first opportunity since then. Now, Brent Sabbath, he hasn't been around in a while. He's here, and it looks like he's really changed quite a bit. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that, but he's told me that he has a surprise. And I don't know what that surprise is going to be, and I hope it's sanctioned, because I think the commissioner was going to be there. But both of these guys are seeking, like it says, both of these guys are seeking a triumphant return, both in the same match. So they're going to be fighting for more than just the win. They're going to be fighting for a lot of momentum here coming back to DBW.
You've talked a lot in the past about Aaron Blaze. You've talked about him. You've talked about him in ways that you'd like to see him grow. You've talked about the potential that he has out there. We know he famously debuted here in DBW just about a year ago against a guy that's here in this chat right now, the real boss man, Aaron Jones. And obviously injuries definitely derailed him. He's definitely at times made a splash here in DBW. But this really is an opportunity for him to show a larger audience what he's done in other places. A lot of people know him as this guy that's traveled, and he's traveled to these places, and he's done, a number of different things in his own company as well. He's done a lot. He has success there. But here in DBW, this is almost, again, goes back to when he wrestled like a Chase Wakefield. This is a prove me match because he hasn't been here in a while. And Brent Sabbath is a guy that hasn't been here and has less of a resume in DBW than an Aaron Blaze. And you've talked a lot about Aaron Blaze in the past. And I have to think you are watching this match very closely because these two guys are intriguing for different reasons.
A lot closer than you think. I'm just going to leave it at that.
I see.
But Aaron Blaze, he's proven a lot, but he still has a lot more to prove. And I think Brent Sabbath, I know he can do it. Everyone knows he can do it. He just has to go out there and prove himself.
Well, that's a good point because Brent Sabbath may have the experience factor, but Brent Sabbath hasn't really been here as much in DBW as, let's say, an Aaron Blaze. But Aaron Blaze, listen, when Aaron Blaze, you talk about him, it's like the bat signal goes off. Everybody wants to hear about it. Everybody wants to talk about it. He's that one guy. He's that lightning rod. So in some ways, maybe there's more pressure on an Aaron Blaze than a Brent Sabbath because, listen, everybody wants to say this or that about Aaron Blaze. And maybe that's why the pressure is more on him in this matchup. I don't know.
I think you're right. I think you are right. I think the chip on the shoulder is on Aaron Blaze, not Brent Sabbath's.
No, I mean, listen, Brent Sabbath. I mean, listen, he'll go back and he'll do a book, he'll do a song, he'll do a YouTube vlog. He's got that unique thing
He's a
about
jack
him.
of all trades. Yeah.
He's a jack of all trades and a master at all of them. But Aaron Blaze, there's a lot of people out there that they want to see what Aaron Blaze does. Some people want to see him succeed. Others, maybe not so much. That's why I think here on this card coming up next weekend, this is a huge opportunity for him. This is definitely a prove me moment. And I'm sure when he's here next Sunday, I'll be sure to slide some of this talk in because he's going to be on here next Sunday in his usual spot. And what great timing. So I will most certainly talk about that. And that's another reason why we want to support DBW. And again, it is a great card. It's going to take place here coming up next Saturday, 8 o'clock.
There is something.
Yep.
There is something that we didn't really put on there that I would like to say is we are going to have yet another announcement. I know this is kind of redundant. I am announcing right now an announcement that I'm going to be making on DBW Overdrive. That's going to be kicking off the show. I'm going to be standing in the middle of the ring, and I would love for everyone to tune in and listen to what I have to say. I announced quite some time ago, 3-4 months ago, that I was going to be making a selection as to which roster member would be joining me in the future of the company. I told everyone I would be making that selection by World War III, and I feel like it is time to reveal that selection. I feel like Overdrive, I've made it, and everyone's gonna tune in and listen to that.
Wait. I thought we were gonna get that at World War III, but you mean to tell us, Silas Walker, you can do that because you're the boss, obviously, that you're gonna do this next Saturday to open the show?
Yeah, I did say by World War III, so it wasn't going to necessarily take place at the event. I gave myself that little bit of a time limit until then. And like I said, I've made each and every single little decision that I've made. I've watched each and every single roster member, and I feel like the best decision is the one that I made in my head, and I'm not revealing who it is until Overdrive.
Well, okay, let me ask you a follow-up question to that. In your mind, have you selected who that person is?
Yes.
And is there particularly a few individuals that you had narrowed it down and you had paid attention to most?
Yeah, there were 3 individuals that I kind of narrowed it down to.
Okay. I mean, that's obviously people are going to be, I think, very excited to see that development. And the way you can watch that announcement is right there by going to the YouTube channel of DBW. You can also follow them on Instagram for announcements. You can also check them out on Facebook. They have a bonfire store with some merchandise. That's how I have my DBW shirt. And let's get to some people here in the chat because I want to talk to them. I want to also reveal my own announcements related to DBW. Zilla is here first. Thank you very much, Zilla, for being here. I appreciate that. And and one of those guys that you have a long history with, Colton Lee, the Heartless Sheriff, and he's here. And what do you think about that?
I'm not surprised that he's here. He tends to tune into a lot of these, and
he's been here.
I would say it's good to hear from him, but it's really not. I mean, just keep trying your best and stay out of my way.
Okay, well, I mean, obviously, famously, you did kind of foreshadow some of the things he went through and eventually he wound up doing, but certainly the mood that he's been in, I mean, he's always he's a heartless sheriff after all.
Oh, yeah, he's in a sour mood. He has been for quite some time.
Well, listen, we'll move on. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Zilla. You said the same thing. I appreciate that. Now, I got to ask you about this guy because that may lead into my announcement. Now, he's obviously not too pleased with you, and you had mentioned him a little while ago. His name is Zachary Depew. Now, Zachary Depew is important for a few reasons, but I might want to hear what you have to say first about Zachary Depew before I roll the tape.
Well, like I said earlier, I'll give Zachary Depew every little bit of due that he has deserved. It should very well be him if it was not for Brandon Castelli's actions. It should be Zach Depew versus Casey James, but it's not. The past is done. Just like the past is done with our past when I beat him at Summer Smash and retained the Global Championship. Zach Depew has stayed out of my way since then, and I think he should very much continue to do that. And Tom Bryce, He seems to have had some issues here with the show, so I'm going to take control of it. We're going to talk about Zach DePew for a second. Zach DePew is a very Oh, there you're back. Okay.
I pressed the wrong button. Sorry.
I was going to say Zach DePew is a very experienced competitor. He's been a lot of places, and he's been smart ever since he's clashed with me. He's very well stayed out of my way. And I think if he continues to do that, he has a very bright future here in DBW. He had a glimpse of gold at the end of last year. He won the Hub City Championship.
Yep.
It's just a shame that Jacob Ryan was able to snatch it right from him.
What he went through with Jackson Snow, how about that? We famously talked a lot about that in the past. I mean, that was
that's one of the DBW's most prolific feuds. We've really that's something we highlighted a lot in the past.
Yep. Absolutely. No, listen, no question that was something that, we had talked about it, and I will roll that footage in a few minutes. But, since you were talking about Zachary DePew, and I thought it was interesting about what had happened to him, apparently he wants to come on Sportswire Radio, and he's going to come on here in 2 weeks from Sunday, 9:00 Eastern time, and he's going to talk about maybe you. He's going to maybe talk about Brandon Castelli, most certainly. He's going to talk about what's his future. And he's going to talk about who knows whatever else is on his mind. And he makes his long-awaited debut to Sportswire Radio 2 weeks from this Sunday, 9:00 Eastern time, right here. And I'm sure you'll be curious to hear what he has to say. And Zach DePew will be here for the first time. It's long overdue. He and I had a conversation about it. And he says now it's time for the world to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, he's got a bright future. Like I said, he just keeps chugging along, and I'll definitely tune in. I'm excited to see that one.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will hear what he has to say, and I think it'll be a great conversation. And I will get to some more comments in a minute while I find the footage. Also, speaking of people that have been here many times, but I really can't talk about some of the things that they're up to, that is this guy here, who's no longer a Bitcoin billionaire. That's all he revealed. But apparently, you may be a leader, but he says he is, and eventually we'll find out, I suppose. But this guy did want to say that. I was going to say that this guy sucks, but I don't want to be fired, and that's Chase Wakefield. I mean, what do you make of this fellow?
See, everyone you ask what I make of, I have history with. Like, it's
that's why I did it. Actually,
like,
that's why you and I were talking about this. So, I know what to expect. Well, duh. I mean, you've been here before. I mean, this is not like rocket science. This is your life either. But
yeah, I mean, Chase Wakefield. I've known Chase Wakefield since 2018. I've known him for
we know.
And we had a bit of an issue last year, and I don't think that really ever stopped. And look, he's continuing to talk about me. I won't fire you, Chase Wakefield, but I might try to make your life a living hell, so you better be careful.
Well, you could decide to fire him if you wanted, but who knows what he would do afterwards? But I guess he's got other things that he may want to promote or talk about. He's usually on here, but we're all waiting for something to be released that maybe we can further talk about. But he doesn't want to be fired, but this could be one of those guys that maybe you want to keep around for those reasons. Maybe you could make his life miserable and just not fire him. I don't know. Yeah,
I think that'd be pretty funny. But we'll see what happens this year. I don't know what's going on with him. I know he must have his market must have crashed or something, because he's no longer a Bitcoin billionaire. So.
I was gonna say, I didn't want to say it, but I was gonna say it. So maybe that's why his life is miserable. It's not the married life, because he can't say his married life is miserable now, but because, well, if you looked at his portfolio, it's definitely, like most of us these days, it's significantly taken a turn for the worst. And maybe that's why he's in that mood. I mean, trust me, I don't even want to look at my mutual fund right now. I want to jump out the window, and I've got one fractured hand, and I don't want to get a second one, because that means you can't come back on Sportswire.
Yeah, I don't want that to happen. And everyone's really kind of gone through some kind of change in whatever it is. I mean, I've gone through it myself. We'll see if that happens to Chase Wakefield or not.
Well, we're going to talk about that. I'm sure he's a topic, and there is the footage that I did want to show before I had got cut off by my own self. And there is.
And if you didn't notice, Brandon Castelli's not on the card for Overdrive. I guess he told me that he deserved the night off as world champion. So after those two miserable defenses that he's had our last two events, he just decided that he wasn't going to be wrestling. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No. Listen, you're the boss. I mean, listen, we don't want to get fired from here. So listen, I mean, by all means, continue to cut me off. But I mean, it's interesting that you bring that up because I was going to talk about that next. I mean, the champion not being here on an already stacked card, but I have to think that the champion from afar, Brandon Castelli, will still be watching this. I would think with close intention
sure.
because of his future.
Yeah. He doesn't have a challenger quite yet, but I have a feeling it's going to be revealed sometime soon, and he better look out for whoever that is.
Well, I'll tell you what, Zachary Depew is going to be talking a lot about Brandon Castelli, and we just showed that footage as to why Brandon Castelli was distracting Zachary Depew. And I'm sure that that's going to be on the mind of Zachary Depew because he would be maybe wrestling coming up next Saturday, and we would have something to talk about when he's here, but he'll talk about other things, undoubtedly. But I am sure that that's a point of frustration. He talked about that here in the chat earlier.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just kind of looking at Colin. I don't like getting too close to him. The camera guy got real close right there.
But no, I understand. Listen, obviously it's your company. You want to make sure everything's going smoothly. I know you've watched it already, but you just want to make sure. I understand. Trust me. I only have one hand these days, usually a lot quicker. But obviously, listen, this to me, has got a lot of people shocked for sure. Brandon Castelli and Colin Graves, these two men, I mean, forget about egos being together. I mean, these guys are together,
Brandon wasn't like this when he won that championship. He wasn't like this a couple months afterwards. It's kind of developed. He's become more and more desperate as time has gone on, and now he has gone to tactics as just saying that he wants to take the night off so he can continue his championship reign because he doesn't know who's going to challenge him next, and I think he's scared.
I was going to ask you about that because I think it's fascinating. When Brandon won the title, it was an emotional moment, right? He hadn't been world champion. We saw the call to his other half and the locker room coming out there, right? And now here we are all this time later, and Brandon Castelli, you could say, is not the Brandon Castelli that won the DBW championship. And this is a guy that's, I guess it's by any means necessary. And is this an instance where maybe the title changes the man and it's all about the gold? And what's your thoughts? You've been there. We talked about you as the global champion and, what you did with that. But Brandon's certainly gone down a different route since he won the world title from a man that, you took DBW from, Mr. Judgment. And what's your thoughts on all that?
See, just like you said, Brandon was able to topple Mr. Judgment. He did something that no one before him was able to do for almost 2 years. And he took that championship from Mr. Judgment. And that is a feat in itself. And he's held on to that thing for almost a year and a half now.
I was going to say it's like 16 months, right? 16,
it's been quite some time, and he has defended it against a litany of our roster members. It'd be more that he didn't defend against than he did defend against than he didn't, is what I'm trying to say. So now Brandon is on a path of desperation, trying to cling to this thing, and I think he's desperate to beat Judgment's title reign. I think that's what it is, and he hasn't said it out loud, but it's kind of easy if you pay attention to him, and he feels like he has to be greater than the person before him, where instead of carving his own path. And I can't speak for him, and I'm sure once he hears this, he's going to freak out, but I'm the owner. What's he going to do?
Well, I tell you what, he is going to be back on, and I know that there was a couple of different times we were going to bring him on, but he's obviously a very busy man as the champion, the incumbent, but I think after this, you'll start seeing more of the DBW roster come on here over the next few months. But I think, listen, I talk about it all the time over the years on here. There is a difference of being the hunter to the hunted, and he's the hunted. And like you said, DBW, you know it better than anybody. The roster here in DBW, as I've said it for years, the roster in the depth, the amount of people that have held championships, been to different places. I mean, this is not you're not a big fish in a small pond. And maybe that pressure, we're going from that transition of the hunter to the hunted. Maybe Brandon knows that. He's read the tea leaves, and that's what he's doing to hang on by any means necessary, I guess.
Yeah, I think he realizes the waters are rising and he's not the only fish swimming around.
No, not in DBW. Listen, like I said, this is not a company where you're a big
and on that note, as the owner of DBW, and I have not been owner for too long, right. I just want to continue to put the message out there that DBW does not stop looking for talent. If people want to reach out to DBW, please reach out to either me or the DBW Instagram page. I will be in contact with you. Someone will be in contact with you, and we will, if we're able to, we'll try to bring you in. I want to expand and make this an empire. Really? I want to make this as big as I can, and I feel like I'm going to be able to grow it really well. And no disrespect to Brian Phillips, maybe disrespect to Mr. Judgment.
Oh, okay. I didn't know any Brian Phillips.
But Mr. Judgment, his company, he has grown this from a seed, and it is now this big giant family tree that I would like to turn into something very legitimate. And not that it's already legitimate, but I want to make this. You can
certainly make it pet friendly. Listen, I know the cat's in the background. You can make it pet friendly, but I mean, listen, there's no question that you did talk about when you took, and we'll get to the chat in a minute. There's no question that when you took over DBW, you did say that you wanted to do things differently than Mr. Judgment. So now that we're getting to see these shows in the lead into the biggest show, not just in this year, but in DBW history, World War III, I think that what you're saying is that, listen, you're going to build DBW in your vision.
Yeah. There's the wrestler Silas Walker, and there's the promoter Silas Walker, and the promoter Silas Walker is doing everything he can to build it, just like you said.
And listen, that was a different, Mr. Judgment had his perspective and his way of doing things, but you are obviously having your own way in doing things. So let's certainly get to some more comments. And if you do want to get in touch with DBW, I put the Instagram link up. And if you want to join them, we'd appreciate that. Let's get to some more comments. I am behind on a lot of them. Also, I heard Bucky the Beaver wants a word with you. Are we talking about Bucky's, the place to eat?
Yeah, there's it's a very large gas station. There's not.
I've heard about it. You want to laugh? My friends in Brooklyn, Joe Roses, who'll never watch this, all he talks about is Bucky's. And my co-host Heshi Tischler, when I do news with, has been to Bucky's, and he actually has a photo of, I think, him and his wife at Bucky's. So Bucky's, I didn't know what Bucky's was until about 4 months ago. My friends were like, "Oh, you gotta go." They rave about Bucky's. So
if you give me a moment, I'll bring a photo up of me with the beaver himself.
Well, you know what? That's obviously why you are definitely not the wrestler Silas Walker, because the wrestler Silas Walker would not do this. But I think you can share your screen here. There's actually if you go down on the plus sign, you can share your screen, and I believe I can pull it up while I get to some more comments. But yeah, Bucky's seems to be a thing. I had no idea what Bucky's was, and my friend explained it as basically like, if you have Wawa, New Jersey, Bucky's is like that times 10. Well, in Texas, it's a big thing too, because they say in Texas, it's like the food is like the greatest thing. We get some of the guys like Mickey Vargas and, JTA, go down there, Jay to the Awesome, all those guys from home. I think, what's his, oh my goodness, there you are. Wow, okay. You really did have a picture with Bucky's. I have to now show my friends this. Maybe they will like, wow, okay. Well,
yeah.
Wow.
That was me with the beaver. But wow. Yeah, no, the food there is pretty good. I really like it. Every time I go to North Carolina, I have to stop. So I can't recommend it enough.
I've heard like the ribs are like the barbecue food is like the thing there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's real good. It's real good.
Wow. Well, you know what? Wow. There you go. Yes, we support DBW. Thank you. And also, speaking of people that have some opinions of you, Aaron Jones, it's that sneaky snake, Silas Walker. That is the Texas heavyweight champion, who certainly has, his own opinions of you. He does have some more comments, which we'll read off.
Been to Texas? I've always just wondered that. You ever been to Texas, Aaron?
He's the Texas heavyweight champion. Hey, listen, he's the champion. And also, you wanted to say, why do you look mean all the time? Just a grumpy lump. I mean, you showed the Bucky's photo. You didn't look too grumpy there.
Well, like I said, that wasn't the wrestler Silas Walker. If I look so mean all the time, then that's just fine. It's just It just
Gotcha.
happens, I guess.
It happens. Okay. I was screwed by Brandon and Colin. I should be facing Casey Jane, which is what I thought would be the point of contention that we'll talk about in 2 weeks. Speaking of people that are doing different things, Skulls wanted to say, I'm tuning in while I'm on the road. Thank you very much. And if you're here,
Be
hit the
safe on the
sub
road,
button.
brother.
Yes, be safe and hit the sub button for DBW. Speaking of people that would have an opinion that are from my state that you certainly know, he's an assassin and wants to say, number one, the tag division is on notice by the Brothers Creed. We will return. 2, no one is afraid of Aaron the Real Biscuit Jones. I didn't know that was a name. Ryan needs to leave him, Jacob Ryan. And also, never count out Cyrus. To do is a death sentence. And I mean, you did at least make that point on number 3, but Scorpion the Assassin definitely has his feelings on one Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I don't think these two have gotten along for a while. If you can recall, a few years ago, they had quite some time here at DBW. So I don't know if that boil ever really stopped. The Brothers Creed is definitely a formidable tag team. For those of you who don't know, that is Scorpion the Assassin and the It Factor Cyrus.
Team, yep.
So if you're putting the whole tag division on notice, you better be prepared, because like you just saw, the Brooklyn Prodigies are the current DBW tag team champions, and it's going to take a lot to dethrone them.
That's interesting. He's put his emphasis on them, but the Brooklyn Prodigies are the tag team champions. But we'll have to see if they remain tag team champions, because they are going to go up against Sammy Nothing and Victor Lobos, and that's a very intriguing matchup. And let's get to some more comments. Yes, hello to Skulls. And also, sir, don't get choked out. Also, Evening Zilla. Speaking of people that you know, my friend Godric Sandwell, who's, I guess his brain tonight has not been impacted by Daniel Tafua, wanted to say, Mr. Walker, long time no see. And Zilla's always been on your team. You know, didn't Zilla have a big crush on you at one point?
I'm sure the whole world does, Tom.
Well, you know what? Zilla was one of those people then. Listen, what can I say? Zilla was one of those people, Zilla the Thriller, as Jack Delta would famously call her. Also, hello. Let me get to some more comments. I must confess, I appreciate the new digs, as I said these days. Okay, that's very kind of you. A pleasure. Let's get to some more comments. Brandon will be looking like Gene Wilder from Willy Wonka. I mean, I guess I could see the resemblances, but I mean, he's been on top. I mean, listen, Brandon is doing what he needs to do to remain on top. And I hadn't thought about that. Maybe it is the pressure that he wants to break Mr. Judgment and the length that he had as DBW champion. I mean, I hadn't thought of it that way, but maybe you know better than all of us.
I've known Brandon for a long time, and I've never seen him act like this. He's been on one side, he's been on the other side, but he's never acted like this. This is desperation, and the fact that the champion is acting out with this much desperation is a little concerning to me, not just as someone who's known him for a while, but as the owner of the company. That's my world championship. You think you're going to avoid wrestling with it? World War III is coming, buddy. You better be prepared.
Well, I think that's going to be very interesting in who would be the person to face Brandon Castelli at World War III. It's the biggest show in the company's history, and anybody would want an opportunity at Brandon Castelli. I mean, I just think that that's very fascinating on who would that opponent be. I mean, we've obviously got a little more time until World War III, but like you said, with the amount of people on this roster, who could face Brandon Castelli? I mean, that's anyone's guess.
I guess we will find out here as everything unfolds. We have, like I said, we have Overdrive, we have Judgment Day, and we have World War III. So it's coming real soon. Your day of reckoning.
Well, I'll tell you what, that is very, very exciting. And please follow DBW on Instagram. And also, there is more than one path to the top of the mountain, but staying, that is the more arduous task. There you go. Another point that's made.
Yeah.
You know, you've done it, obviously, as the global champion. You know, you talked about Cyrus, you know, his run as a champion in the past. Austin James, we know what he and Colin did with the tag titles. I mean, so in this company, look at Sammy Nothing. But you can make the point, right? Sammy Nothing hasn't gone down that road. Look at what he's went through to be the world extreme champion, but yet Brandon has gone down this road. But a guy like Sammy Nothing, I mean, Sammy was on here almost a year ago and said, listen, I'll fight anybody. I don't care. I don't care what's thrown in front of me. And he keeps knocking him down. But yet Brandon takes a different path. But Sammy Nothing is showing you that, listen, you put anybody up against me, and I'll knock him down.
Sammy's on a warpath. I did the math, and Sammy hasn't lost since some point in 2024. I think it was. He's held that championship for a long time. He might be actually close to the record for the World Extreme Championship. I'm not even sure. Previous record was held by me, by the way.
So
yeah,
now
but he actually might be close to that. So we're gonna have to get our record guys on that and check it out.
Well, I'm sure you guys have a stat team like everybody else, but the wrestler and you may not want him to break that record. But
hey, records are made to be broken, and my focus is on the company right now.
Well, I mean, we're going to certainly find out, but I want to share my screen before I get to a couple more things. And we're here with Silas Walker. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Please support DBW, and we will have more DBW coverage. I guess you could say 2 times coming up, because Aaron Blaze will be back here next Sunday night, and then Zachary Depew is right afterwards. But I think we'll be talking a lot more with Zachary Depew on strictly DBW, and Aaron Blaze will talk a little bit of DBW because he'll be talking about his own company. But we did want to share that it is DBW Day here. I have to fix that, but we'll give you the fixed thing here. But it is DBW Day here on all Sportswire radio platforms, and we'll make sure to give you this because you are the owner of the company. And I was going to do Silas Walker Day, but I figured if I do DBW Day, considering we'll have more DBW segments on Sportswire, that might be the better idea.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I figured you as the company man would maybe want DBW to be honored here. And we do have the actual new thing that I had pressed the wrong button on here. But if you are out there, like I said, like, share, and subscribe. DBW's YouTube page. DBW will be back on here once again and with more coverage. And there it is. And we'll give you the actual copy when we're off the air. And, so Overdrive's coming up here next Saturday. You've got an announcement to kick the show off on who's going to be that person that you've picked. Is there anything else that you may want to talk or promote when it comes to Overdrive or DBW in general that maybe we haven't got a chance to talk about?
DBW is growing. It's only getting bigger from here. Judgment Day is going to be bigger than Overdrive. World War III is going to be bigger than all the rest. And then next year's after World War III, it's going to be insane. I'm not saying next year, but that after World War III, it's going to be insane. We kind of end our seasons on that.
Right.
We are only going to grow from here. And everyone who wants to jump on board now, you better do it now, because this boat is going to be going fast. It's going to be going by real quick, and you might not have an opportunity to jump on. So like I said, any competitor, any wrestler that is interested in competing for Dominant Breakout Wrestling, I'm not saying we're accepting everyone. I'm saying we're accepting people that are the best of the best.
Right.
Please reach out to us, and we will consider you. We will look at what you have. Like I said, reach out to me, reach out to the DBW Instagram page, and someone will be in contact with you. Please continue to watch DBW. Next Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, DBW presents Overdrive. We have the semifinal round of the Quest for the Best tournament. We have the main event, the DBW Tag Team Champions defending against the Extreme Champion and the Anarchy Champion. That's a mouthful. We have 2 championship matches. We have Austin James defending against Cyrus. We have Jacob Ryan defending against Jackson Sabre. And then we also have Aaron Blaze taking on Brent Sabbath and more. We have the announcement from myself announcing the future of the company.
One of the things I was going to ask you, will we see more things in the past like VTW and DBW collaborating? That was something we've seen in the past. You did bring that up. I would think
love to.
that would. I would think that would make a lot of sense, right? Because obviously we know such the crossover with VTW guys. I mean, we would think we would see it, and some of that would be something you would, I'm sure, open the door to.
Yeah, I would love to have more VTW guys. I mean, we have Aaron and we have Jake there all the time. But they have guys like Tyler Aiken, they have guys like Zach Daniels, they have guys like Ecstatic, they have guys like D-Lock. I've wrestled a handful of these guys, and they are like sharks. The VTW is basically DBW's sister company. We like to refer to each other as, and the roster that VTW has to offer is bar none. It is the only roster that I could currently compare to DBW's. So I would love to have more guys from them on our show, whether it be another Universal Collision event where the two companies clash, or just having the guys on the show and having something with them. It's not exclusive to VTW, like I said, but yeah.
Well, I was going to say, and I think that's a great answer, and I think that would make a lot of sense. But I'd really be curious about guys like Jay Luther and what they do here under your company on your watch. That's a guy, I've talked a little bit about in different places that he's gone. He's another guy that's made a lot of improvements, and I'd be very curious on what you would think about a guy like Jay Luther now, maybe under your watch.
Jay Luther is a guy that a lot of people in the business refer to as a shooter. This guy knows how to do amateur Olympic style wrestling. This guy will take you down. This guy will tie you up in a knot. This guy will feed you this guy will put a ham sandwich on your back and starve you to death. But what I'm saying is Jay Luther has improved tremendously.
Oh my goodness.
As has the rest of the DBW roster. But sometimes I'm in the gym with him. Sometimes I see him outside and he is just doing everything he can.
Yeah, he famously told me once that literally from the minute he wakes up to the minute he goes to bed, the only thing he thinks about is wrestling.
I believe it. I believe, and food. The man eats like a machine.
Well, I'm sure,
But yeah, Jay Luther trains like an animal, and he pretty much is an animal. And I feel bad for anyone who has to get in there, for anyone who pisses him off. But he's definitely someone that people should keep an eye on here in the coming months.
And I got to ask you about, because we talked about Colton Lee for a few minutes, and a man that you've also had, an intriguing history with, Robert Pearson.
Yeah. Robert Pearson. Chaos Conspiracy, I'm sure you remember them.
Yeah, I remember.
Could have had it all, minus the Big Tex incident. If me, Rob, and Cassidy could have had it all, Rob disappeared off the face of the earth. Wow. But I blame Cassidy for that. Cassidy was his brother. Cassidy was supposed to look after him. He didn't know where Rob went.
Yep, they were here together. He
didn't know where Rob went. No one knew what happened. He should have known. Someone could have reached out to him, and nope. And then you saw what happened. The whole family collapsed, and now I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Hey, but you called a lot of what happened there, and Colton Lee and Robert Pearson, who knows there, let's see. But I mean, you did call a lot of those things, and it foreshadowed eventually to where Colton Lee became this heartless sheriff. But you did famously foreshadow that here a couple of years ago. And that's why I was really, I had to ask you. I realize as the wrestler, you may have an opinion of Robert Pearson, but as an owner, knowing that this guy is in your roster, and the cat might even kind of also be just as curious of what you think about Robert Pearson.
Robert Pearson's a fierce competitor.
He's as fierce as your cat, obviously.
Yeah, just about. Robert Pearson is a fierce competitor. He has some type of uniqueness to him in the ring that a lot of people don't have. I would honestly, I've compared Robert Pearson to Jake the Snake before. Like, he's very or Rick Rude.
There's definitely something about him. He does have an aura about him. It's just a matter of, can he put it all together? That's always been, I think you look at him and he's got the look. He can certainly talk. He's got the ability. It's just a matter of putting him. I'll compare him in a way almost like an enigma, where he's got all the talent, It's all there. It's just a matter of him consistently putting it together. And if he does that, regardless of what you've thought about him in the past, I mean, he could certainly be one of those guys that we could see at the top of a stacked DBW roster, you know?
Yeah, I think he's just kind of got to shake Colton Lee, and they're going to have to go their own separate paths and make their way up that ladder. I feel like they're going to have to separate from each other if they want to improve, because those two personalities, they don't really mix well together. And we've seen it in the past with Chaos Conspiracy, and it just needs to be let go.
Well, speaking of people that are here, and they'll be here next Sunday, but they did want to give you a few things to say, and that was be first headline that, but then he put, oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah. Oh boy.
What do you think that implies?
I don't know. I hope it's just a general statement. I hope he's not. I'm your boss. I just want you to remember that.
Well, he's one of those guys, though, that doesn't seem to, he kind of bangs to his own drum.
He goes everywhere. Yeah. Okay. Well, you could stay in DBW, but just like I said, I could make Chase Wakefield's life a living hell. I could make your life a living hell. I could make you go against Behemoth and Lobos and Snow back to back.
That was what I was going to ask you next about. That's another guy. I'm sure the people talk a lot about him, but you just think about that. And, for Aaron Blaze to go up against those guys, I mean, he may be a fantastic competitor.
Like, that's just off the top. I mean, I'm sure I could think of something ridiculous, but.
Yeah, Ray Louie, you got the Ray Louie.
Yeah.
Any nothing. I mean, there's other people in the match that we talked about earlier. I mean, there's a lot of guys, Casey James, there's Colin Gray. There's a long list of people in DBW, and since he's here, I'll refresh maybe his memory or your memory since we talked about it earlier. I think this is a big prove me match for Aaron Blaze because being in DBW and he hasn't been here in a while, and you talked about the injury, he missed time. And I know he had talked a lot about coming back to DBW1 here, and now he has an opportunity to really step up here. And against a guy like Brent Sabbath, who also has got a unique background, and a guy that also has certainly, shown himself in other ways to be a top-notch guy, and like you said, a jack of all trades and a master at all of them. But I think, to me, this is a big moment for Aaron Blaze. I mean, this is a big moment for him coming up. We'll see if he's the headline.
Yeah, this is a huge opportunity, and it might not be for a championship. It might not be in a tournament, but this is an opportunity for him to prove to the roster, to prove to everyone watching him that he belongs where he's at.
See, I'll tell you what, though, this is, not all matches need a title. This is one of those matches. Let me tell you, it doesn't necessarily need a title because if you think about what's on the line, these guys haven't been here. Aaron Blaze hasn't been on DBW programming in half a year, right? Brent Sabbath hasn't really been around DBW much. So if you think about what these guys have at stake, the title is one thing, but right now they've got to prove it to a locker room. And we've talked about it throughout the entire evening. This is a deep roster with the guys that are hungry, that there's only so few championships to go around. We talked about Ace Christian at the beginning of the show is going to Arkansas this weekend. He's wrestling. Yeah. You talked about Jacob Cassidy, a guy that's really come a long way. And he was one of those guys I never forget that learned out there in the dead of the heat in the summer when Van Hansen and Kid Mike had the ring set up, and he was there every single day out there. We were talking about it, and we talked about the Sammy Nothing and Victor Lobos. They have an opportunity to be double champions. We talked about Austin James and Cyrus the It Factor, and some people say, oh, Cyrus is over the hill, but Cyrus is gonna want to show the world that, hey, you know what, I'm far from it. I've got this up in here, and Aaron Blaze is got to compete with all that. And he's got to show the world that this is his moment to redeem himself in some ways.
Yeah, and now's time. Because if you don't do it now, then the time might pass you by. You might have someone else come by and take your spot. That's just how DBW is. Everyone's trying to climb that ladder and reach the top. So, Aaron Blaze, if you have what it takes, you better show it here at Overdrive.
And I'll tell you what, you even said, listen, you're looking to add more guys, and you've got, 20, 30 guys on the roster to begin with?
About 25.
Yeah, I mean, so interesting that you even said, listen, I'm looking to add. Some companies would be saying, I want to trim the roster. I want to pare down. But no, you want to increase the fish in the pond. So that means guys like Aaron Blaze, they've got pressure. They've got pressure on them that maybe he hasn't had in other places. And maybe other places where he's been successful and he's been dominant. He doesn't have that here. Where he's coming is going to be a whole different environment, especially a radically changed environment than the one that he debuted here in DBW. And he would like to say redemption for the future to Burn Bright. The headline of Hub City kicks things into overdrive. Well, boy, I mean.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you're good at writing them headlines, bro. You can write newspapers if it doesn't work out for you.
Well, I mean, he may be writing news to newspapers, and he might be writing letters to editor. He might be writing headlines if he doesn't get a win over Brent Sabbath, but he's got to get through Brent Sabbath first. And Brent Sabbath could do a vlog on this match. Brent Sabbath could go out there and do a drawing on it. He could do a movie. He could write a book. He could write a song on it. So this is what's on the line right now. These guys have got a lot to prove. We're very excited before we sign off here about Overdrive. And it's going to take place here one more time. I can't stress the importance of tuning in next Saturday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time. That's next Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. And that's on the DBW YouTube channel. And I made it simple for you. So all you have to do is hit that sub button for me, and you get the notifications right to your phone. 8 o'clock, you're there. You'll see a lot of people in the chat. Everybody will be excited. You have a great list of matches. You've got Colin Graves and Casey James in one semifinal matchup. The other one is Ace Christian and Jacob Cassidy. You've got Austin James and Cyrus the It Factor. You've got the Brooklyn Prodigies defending the tag team championships against the World Extreme champion, Sammy Nothing, who's been one of the most impressive champions in any circuit. You've also got Victor Lobos as a tag team partner. You've got Silas Walker, who's going to make an announcement, who's going to be his man. Then you've got Austin James and Cyrus the It Factor. I mean, there's a lot. You've got Jacob Ryan and Jackson Sabre. Jacob Ryan and Jackson Sabre. That might be pound for pound the biggest match of the card.
That's a lot of meat in the ring. That's a lot.
Listen, you know what? I mean, those guys, I wouldn't want the bill for them. And we're going to talk a lot about that the next couple of weeks. Aaron Blaze is going to be on here the night after this. So while we usually talk a little bit of YBW, I'll mix in some DBW because he'll be in the ring against Brent Sabbath.
Yeah, definitely.
We're gonna definitely, of course, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch the show. We'll talk about Aaron's match.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna plug DBW. He's gonna be on. We're excited. He's, he always sends me the links, and I send him the links when he comes on. Everything's great. We're excited about that. Then the following Sunday, we're going to have on Zachary Depew for the first time. So very exciting to have somebody on here for the first time. It's always great to give new people an opportunity, and I'm excited about this. And I hope you'll join me. And it is DBW Day here. And before we sign off, is there anything else you want to plug, share, or say that we haven't got a chance to tonight?
Well, I'll definitely be here for those two guys from DBW that you have on. I really appreciate everyone that jumped on, everyone that ends up watching this afterwards. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be prepared for Overdrive next Saturday, March 28th, 8 o'clock. It's on because this is a huge card. We have possibilities of 2 double champions. We have semifinals for tournaments happening. We have 2 championship matches. We have a huge match between Aaron Blaze and Brent Sabbath. It's just going to be gigantic, and DBW is only getting bigger from here.
Love it. Love it. I love it. And, with March Madness, how poetic that all of these matches have meaning to them, and that's going to take place next Saturday, Overdrive. So your bracket will probably be bursted by then, so you'll have plenty of time at 8 o'clock Eastern time to tune in. Also, please, if you want to get in touch with DBW, that's the Instagram page. Also, they have a Facebook page. May not be as active, but do go there and join. Silas also has an Instagram page. We really get in touch with him through the DBW's page. And again, it's going to be a great card. Very excited. And Brandon Castelli's not going to be on. But also, speaking of people that are here, Jackson Snow did want to comment. And I'm sure he should note that Zachary Depew will be here in 2 weeks from this Sunday. So he's going to be tuned in there to make sure that Zachary Depew gets peppered with plenty of comments.
Good. I mean, I will, all the comments, the better. Will Oaf be handled for screwing us over? I hope so. And Oaf, for those of you who don't know, that's Aaron Jones and Jacob Ryan. It's over as
I got it. Yeah, I knew what it was. I just wasn't. I will let you say it because
I was kind of letting the audience put two and two together if they were
I don't do
capable.
cursing, so But I'll let you do it because you're the boss.
But Jackson Snow is the other half of wrestling's greatest outlaws. They weren't able to capitalize in their match against Oath.
Yep.
But maybe something will happen here. Maybe we'll be able to topple them. They're gonna have to face for what they did. I mean, they're running amok, and I'm the owner, so they're gonna have to fall into line eventually.
But I'll tell you what, before we sign off, that I find interesting, right? Guys like Scorpion the Assassin were here. Jackson Snow was also in the chat earlier, right now with us. And I see that this tag team division has always been the cornerstone of DBW. And you think about the prodigies, right? And sure, let's say they do retain those titles, and they're going to have their work cut out for them when it comes to Sammy Nothing and Victor Lobos. But you've got guys like Jackson Snow, guys like Scorpion the Assassin that were here. I mean, you've got a lot of different people that would certainly be gunning for those tag team titles. Jacob Ryan and Aaron Jones. I mean, Aaron Jones was here in the chat. So I think, to me, what's really fascinating is what I think is going to be at the forefront of your reign here running DBW is the tag team division.
Yeah, this tag team division is my pride and joy at the moment. I love being able to promote this and being able to watch everything unfold up close. DBW is one of the few places in the underground scene with a true tag team division.
Absolutely.
And I put the tag team championships on par with the world championship. They're right there. And that's
the Prodigies, right, being champions. Look at what the Prodigies, have done. We know what Ego has done with the tag team championships in the past. I mean, there's been some great teams that have held those tag team titles in DBW, So, I mean, to me, listen, I couldn't agree with you more. And that's always what should be a hallmark of any wrestling company is the tag teams. I mean, you guys have got always the very best of anywhere.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that. And we're always looking for more tag teams as well, not just singles competitors. So the more the merrier. And we have guys like WGO, we have guys like the Brothers Creed, we have guys like the Brooklyn Prodigies, and then you have people who could always be up and coming. You have guys that could form alliances. You have guys like Ego, like all three guys. Roland Havoc and Austin James are still on the same page.
What about this Colin Graves and Brandon Castelli situation?
Yeah, I mean, you have them. You have them. There's a lot going on.
And Robert Pearson. I mean,
yeah,
you
have a lot of opportunities for challengers for those tag championships, and now it's not just about the singles matches.
No, absolutely. There's the opportunities here, and I got to ask you this last question. I mean, so how is things between you and Stephen Gaynor?
Honestly, pretty good. At the last event,
my last one. I waited. I thought about this in my head the entire time tonight when I was coming home. I'm like, the last thing I'm going to throw him off guard. I mean, you saying, "Oh, I know what it's going to be like." I said, "Let me throw him total curveball at Stephen Gaynor."
So honestly, it's the arc you weren't expecting. Everything with Stephen Gaynor is kind of like meshed itself together. He invited me to his place with the rest of the roster the last time. Before I never got an invite to Gaynor's place, but everyone else was
talked about this in the past.
But I got the invite to Gaynor's place when we all had a good time, and it was fantastic. So everything is water under the fridge.
Water under the fridge. Okay, not water under the bridge, but water under the fridge. Okay, I hadn't heard that one before, but it makes a lot of sense. And obviously, we're very excited about the future of DBW here. And I hope that you join me in supporting DBW. I want to remind everybody here before we sign off that next Sunday, Aaron Blaze will be on here. And we'll talk some DBW. We'll have on Zachary Depew. He'll be on here also for the first time the following Sunday. And Silas does have a YouTube channel. I'm going to plug him because he does have a lot of subs, and every sub counts. So give him a sub if you're out there. You'll watch it later on. Hit the sub button for him. And Jackson's got a few comments, which I'll read off. And we definitely look forward to his comments, certainly when Zachary Depew is on here. But that's his YouTube channel. You can watch his most recent match, which led him to running DBW, and Ricky-isms. And
I'm glad someone got the reference.
Yeah, Ricky-isms. There you go. But thankfully, that's a good ism. And hello to Abram Storm, who will probably tune in when Aaron Blaze will be on here. Thank you to the Thunders. We just celebrated a birthday not too long ago. Happy birthday. Hope everybody has a great day. And it is DBW Day. And obviously, if you missed to recap, Silas Walker and I ran down next week's show for Overdrive. It's going to take place coming up next Saturday, 8 o'clock. And if you're a fan like Abram Storm of Aaron Blaze will be in action, and he makes his long-awaited return to DBW for the first time this year against Brent Sabbath. We're going to see Austin James, who you've seen in places like GTS. He'll be wrestling one Cyrus the It Factor. Man, it's been here many times. Ace Christian is going to be in Texarkana, Arkansas, coming up this weekend. We'll be wrestling for the HCW International Championship against D'Angelo and Bishop. He'll be wrestling also against Jacob Cassidy. We're going to see Colin Graves and Casey James. We're going to also see Jacob Ryan and Jackson Sabre. We're going to see the tag titles defended. We're going to see Sammy Nothing and Victor Lobos against the Brooklyn Prodigies. And guess what? If Victor Lobos and Sammy Nothing win, they could be double champions. And plus, Silas Walker is going to announce who's going to be his guy here in DBW. A lot of stuff here in DBW. We definitely overdrived you with some information, but I think we'll recap some of it here the next couple of weeks. And definitely long overdue. And let's make it where you don't come back in 9 months from now. Let's hopefully you come back a lot sooner when we can
definitely
get the lead up to World War III. And it was a lot of fun. Great to be with you once again. Congratulations on running the company. And I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about that. And thank you for all you do for our great sport. And we'll see you soon.
I appreciate you. Thanks.
You got it. That is Silas Walker. He's the man behind DBW, Dominant Breakout Wrestling, the dominant force and all of wrestling. They're getting ready for their next show here coming up. That is Overdrive. That'll take place next Saturday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time in the lead up to World War III. Please follow their YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook pages. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. I will be back on here coming up this weekend a few different times, and stay tuned for details. I do have a singer, Kira Augustine from Pennsylvania, an up-and-coming singer. Her husband is Chris Killian. If you know anything about independent wrestling, that's a name. And I'll have another announcement or two. Well, actually, I'll announce it here on the air. I'll actually do this because you guys did have I'm going to do it because, DBW is back on Sportswire, and I'll make a few announcements for this, non-wrestling related. But I had noticed that you did have, Motley Crue's Kickstart My Heart when you had the music there. But I actually have coming on to Sportswire Radio next week the man that actually replaced Vince Neil and Motley Crue, John Karabi. He's actually coming onto my platform. So, we'll try to kickstart our hearts a little bit with that. But we'll certainly pepper him with some Motley Crue, and then he'll never come back on. No, I'm just kidding. But, follow DBW. We'll see Silas soon. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all music and all wrestling matters. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow. And have a great night. And follow DB-Dub. And I'm agreeing with Abram Storm. Yes, we cannot wait for another DBW episode. DB-Dub. Did that one for you because you're the boss. We want to come back on the show soon.